Hi, I'm Chrane. As most of you probably know, we're in the middle of Diablo's 20th anniversary, and people are filled with anticipation for what Blizzard have in store for us when Blizzcon finally hits. And since Legion just released, the Warcraft movie's out, Overwatch is going great, StarCraft is basically done, and Hearthstone as well as Heroes of the Storm are just smaller projects overall, there needs to be a big boom during this year's BlizzCon. And Diablo is the most logical choice. Unless they plan to show us Warcraft 4, that would be awesome. But enough of that. Let me share with you my BlizzCon predictions and expectations regarding Diablo. People are expecting one of two things to be announced during BlizzCon. Diablo 4 or the next Diablo 3 expansion. But what are the chances for a new game over an expansion? Just look at these two tweets. David Brevik, the man behind Diablo 1, Diablo 2, and recently Marvel Heroes, who was fired from Blizzard when they shut down Blizzard North many years ago, recently visited the Blizzard HQ. People were speculating as to what he was doing there, and then a few days later, this tweet appeared. For 20 years, Diablo-like games have evolved and surprised us. I'm proud to be the advisor for the game that pushes this genre to new heights. With a picture of the Libra, which acts as a symbol of divine justice, harmony, and balance. Interesting choice, Dave. What could this mean for the franchise? Well, it's hopefully back in good hands. I'd trust David Brevik with my hardcore character's life any day. He's the man that made these games what they are. But does this mean he's working on Diablo 3 or Diablo 4? We don't know. But since the first picture showing him turning up at the Blizzard HQ was published October 6th, and the second with the announcement was published on October 16th, just a few weeks ago, and not that long ahead of BlizzCon, it seems to me that he's a recent addition. If they announce Diablo 4 at BlizzCon, isn't it a little late to pick him up as an advisor now? Or have they been in crunch mode since October 6th, trying to iron out all the details they want to share with us during BlizzCon? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but this news has me very excited nonetheless. Moving on. Diablo 4 would be the biggest thing they could bring to the stage during this year's BlizzCon, considering it's the 20th anniversary and all. To many people, Diablo 4 is the only logical step for the Diablo franchise, considering the fact that Diablo 3 is all about seasons, without a carrot for the more casual players. Diablo 4 would have the chance to tell the most story, introduce us to new and interesting game mechanics, as well as new characters and environments. It will probably look a whole lot better than Diablo 3 graphically, and hopefully bring Diablo back into the limelight, since every time someone from Blizzard talks about the Blizzard catalog, they mention WoW, Overwatch, Hearthstone, StarCraft, and Heroes of the Storm. I can't even count all the times they just flat out forget to even mention Diablo, it's kind of comical. So, what would I want out of a Diablo 4? Well, a good follow-up where the story left off in Diablo 3 would be nice. I don't want more of the primeval because I think it's dull. I hope the first act ends with us killing the primeval for good, releasing all the 7 evils. I want Baal and Mephisto to be bosses in the game because personally I think they're the most well-written of the evils and I really want to see what Blizzard can do with them. I think Tyrael needs to go back to being an angel because he's really boring as a mortal. I know Metzum pushed the idea to make him mortal so that he would be more relatable and act as our advisor and lore nerd, and that's one of the major reasons why they killed off Deckard Cain, by the way. It was supposed to happen later in the game, but they decided to make it earlier because Tyrael and Deckard Cain basically filled the same purpose. But Tyrael needs to go back to the heavens as he now acts as wisdom. Just make him an angel again, please. And while you're at it, revive Deckard Cain and make him the aspect of justice. As in, justice for everyone. Everyone playing the game, and justice for him. He doesn't have to be an angel. He can be a spirit, a ghost, or just some form of holy essence. It's fine. Just get Deckard Cain back, please. We just need these two things to go back to the way they were, more or less. Tyrael being an angel and Deckard Cain telling us stories for hours on end. It's what make these games what they are. I also want the Druid and Necromancer to make a return as playable classes. And having the Horadrim as a playable class would make sense as well. But what if they decide to announce a Diablo 3 expansion? Well, there's a lot of information floating around the internet from a few years back. pictures of a giant city next to the ocean, new art of Kurast and other jungle areas, as well as some sketches of a druid design. If we get a Diablo 3 expansion instead of Diablo 4, I would be disappointed, but not surprised. However, I need that druid to become a reality. If we get another expansion, that druid needs to be in it. As for story, I hope we travel to the Skovos Isles, as was teased a few years back. And what exactly are the Skovos Isles? It's also known as the Amazon Islands. There are 4 main islands known as Philios, Skovos, Lysander, and Skartara, and they're the home of the Ascari, otherwise known as the Amazons. This would mean that an Amazon class would make a ton of sense as well. And what do I think will happen in this area? Well, the primeval is free, and we need to hunt him down. I hope it flees to these islands and we have to hunt it through all 4 until we finally corner it and kill it, releasing all 7 evils trapped within, setting up a Diablo 4. See how I go back to that specific point though? Killing the primeval and get the 7 evils back? Yeah, I'm not a fan of the primeval at all. No doubt though, most people want the big announcement to be Diablo 4, but to be honest with you, I think it's going to be a Diablo 3 expansion. I really hope it's Diablo 4, but I'm not counting on it. The last few years, Blizzard have been dropping the Diablo-themed ball hardcore. Diablo 3 Vanilla released in a very shaky state, with an auction house and horrible drop rates for your characters. The game essentially forced you to use the auction house since it barely dropped anything useful for your character. And the times it dropped useful things, it wasn't for your class. However, they changed the game for the better in so many ways with the release of Reaper of Souls. It was very similar to how Lord of Destruction took Diablo 2 and made it a really great game. The problem with Reaper of Souls, however, is that they did nothing with it after release. Sure, Seasons and Greater Rifts are a great idea for people who really want to push their characters to the limit, but for people like me who really like the gameplay but mostly play for the story and interesting environments and so on, there's been nothing interesting in years. They added 2 new zones, which made it worth my while to return, but after having seen them 3 or 4 times each, they were just there. But don't get me wrong, Reaper of Souls saved this game, and that's great, but I feel that Blizzard should have put out a new expansion over a year ago. Or just transition over to adding story chapters in bigger patches, because as of this moment I haven't actively played Diablo 3 in a year and a half. But what does this have to do with their Blizzcon announcement? Well, I think they're going to play it safe once again and give us information on the next expansion. I think Diablo 4 is years away and we will have to settle for a Diablo 3 expansion. However, is it enough? For me personally, probably not. I'll play the expansion for a week or 2 and then not touch it for a year. But if they went on that stage and made me eat my own words with a sick trailer for Diablo 4, I would be so happy. Those are my thoughts and predictions for Diablo's presence at BlizzCon 2016. Am I wrong? Do you have some theories? Feel free to share them in the comment section. I would love to see what all of you think's gonna happen. I've been Chrane, and I'll see you next time.